I was sitting in my car, staring at my front door, rain hammering the roof like it was trying to break through. My muscles ached from 2 grueling hours of physical therapy, and all I wanted was to collapse into my own bed. But there was a problem, a massive one. My wheelchair ramp was gone. Not damaged, not broken, but completely vanished, Leah VYing nothing but 4 jagged holes in the concrete where the bolts used to be. A soggy piece of paper fluttered on my door, tucked under the awning. I wrestled my wheelchair out of the car, rain soaking me to the bone, and wheeled myself to the porch. The note read, "Saw this structure VY OLATs, HOA aesthetic standards. Remove immediately. HOA President Linda Harper." Saw I stared at it, my hands shaking. Remove it? They'd already taken it. Without that ramp, I was stranded, effectively homeless in my own driveway. I'd moved to Pinewood Estates 3 months ago, chasing peace after a medical discharge from the Army. 20 years of SARE VYC, 2 tours in Iraq, and it was a drunk driver back home that stole my legs. The irony stung. When I bought this house, I filed all the paperwork for a temporary ramp per the Americans with Disabilities Act. The HOA approved either, so I thought. Then I met Linda Harper, the HOA president. She eyed my ramp like it was a junkyard sculpture, strutting up my driveway with her clipboard and designer sunglasses, despite the overcast sky. "That's not on our approved structures list," she'd said, her voice dripping with disdain. I explained the ADA, the approval of the law. She gave me a tight smile, scribbled something, and left. I should have known she wasn't done. I called my neighbor, Tom, my voice unsteady. "Someone took my ramp. I can't get inside." Tom and his son arrived in 20 minutes, lifting me and my chair up the 4 steps to my door. Once inside, I rolled to my office and pulled up the security footage. The camera over my garage had a clear shot of the crime scene. At 10:15 a.m., 30 minutes after I'd left for therapy, a white van pulled up. 2 workers in coveralls stepped out, tools in hand. And there was Linda, in a crisp navy blazer, pointing at my ramp like a general commanding an attack. She stood there, arms crossed, as they unbolted it and loaded it into the van. Just before she left, she looked right at the camera and smirked. That smirk burned into me. She knew exactly what she was doing. The next few weeks were a war. Linda sent official HOA letters claiming my unauthorized structure VY OLAT community standards. I fired back with copies of my approval forms and ADA citations. She countered with nastier notes, saying my ramp was an eyesore that tanked property values. I tried reasoning with the HOA board, dragging myself to a meeting at the community center nearly inaccessible without a ramp. "The ADA requires reasonable accommodations," I said, while VYing my documents. Linda cut me off. "The ADA doesn't apply to private communities," she declared, her voice brimming with certainty. "We have standards everyone agreed to." It was nonsense. The ADA absolutely applies, but the board sat silent, spineless. I wheeled out, their silence louder than the rain. I installed a second ramp, a cheap temporary one. The next day, a due law 500 fine arrived for unauthorized modifications. When I refused to pay, Linda tacked on late fees. The letters piled up, each more threatening. I called the county housing authority, who confirmed I was in the right, but their calls to the HOA went unanswered. Then, one morning, I came home from a doctor's appointment to find the second ramp gone. No note this time. The footage showed the same van, the same workers, and Linda, smug as ever, overseeing it all. I'd had enough. That night, after Tom and his son hauled me inside again, I uploaded the footage online with a caption. "Saw HOA President steals disabled veteran's wheelchair ramp twice." So I sent it to a CI VYL rights attorney, Sarah Coleman, who specialized in ADA cases. By morning, my phone was buzzing. A local news station wanted an inter VYEW. Sarah called, her voice sharp. "This is one of the most egregious ADA violations I've seen. And she did it on camera. I'll take your case pro bono." By afternoon, the story exploded. Linda's smirk went VY-RAL, sparking outrage. Neighbors flooded the community board with shock and anger. Board members called me, claiming they knew nothing and distancing themselves from Linda. The VYC president called an emergency meeting. Linda, suddenly, was nowhere to be found. Sarah moved fast, filing for an injunction to restore my ramp and a CIVYL rights complaint. But then the police captain called. Sir, this isn't just a CIVYL issue. Removing accessibility equipment from a disabled person is criminal interference with CIVYL rights under state law. I hadn't expected that. Neither had Linda. The next morning, cops showed up at her door with a warrant. A neighbor's video captured it. Linda in a bathrobe, gesturing wildly, shouting, "This is absurd. It's my job to enforce the rules." That ramp was unauthorized. The officers cuffed her and led her to the patrol car as neighbors gawked. She spent 6 hours in jail before posting bail. By evening, her arrest was on the news, her driver's license photo plastered beside footage of my missing ramp. The DA charged her with criminal violation of CIVYL rights, property destruction, and interference with a protected class. Her smug smirk was gone, replaced by a stunned, pale expression. She faced up to 2 years in prison and $20,000 in fines. The HOA board ousted her as president, issued me a formal apology, and approved a permanent ramp. A local company installed it for free, calling it an honor to serve a veteran. The new ramp was perfect wide, gently sloped, with non-slip surfaces and sturdy railings. One of the contractors who'd removed my ramp called me, distraught. She told us the homeowner wanted it gone because they were moving. I didn't know you were disabled. I'd never have touched it if I knew. I believed him. Linda had lied to everyone. Her troubles snowballed. Her real estate firm suspended her without pay. Her lawyer pushed for a plea deal, but the DA, backed by public pressure and ironclad EVY Denke, didn't budge. At her arraignment, the judge shut down her motion to dismiss. "The ADA isn't optional, Ms. Harper," he said, his voice like steel. "Your deliberate interference with a disabled veteran's home access violates federal law." 3 months later, the gavel fell. Linda got a $30,000 fine, 2 years of probation, and 300 hours of community service at a veterans rehab center. She clutched the courtroom bench, whispering, "This can't be happening. I was just doing my job." The woman who'd once terrorized the neighborhood over unmowed lawns now faced ruin. As I wheeled down my new ramp, I felt a weight lift not just from getting justice, but from knowing Linda's reign was over. What do you think? Was Linda's punishment fair? Or did the court go too far? Should HOAs have the power to override federal laws like the ADA? Drop your thoughts below, hit that like button if this story fired you up, and subscribe for more real-life drama.